yesterday we done make flooding attack. Now what is the solution? So solution is port security. But port security can be used for a DHCP starvation attack as well. If you remember, I told you that we protect DHCP, rogue DHCP, but we did not protect starvation attack. So port security can be used for two purposes, for make flooding attack, and also it can be used for DHCP starvation attack. Port security, as we discuss in many courses, maybe you already studied in CCN and CCNP level as well. So this is port security, means port based security. I know this is not a good solution. Still anybody can bypass port security, because the port security work based on MAC address, and MAC address can be spoofed easily. You can change your MAC address, and this way the port will authorize you. I know later in the course we will discuss there is another solution, .1x, which is the best solution, but anyway right now we are discussing about port security. At least something is better than nothing. So port security basically apply per port on Cisco switches, and normally we configure port security on access layer switches, and that's why we are discussing layer 2 security. So in layer 2 security you must configure port security to protect from many attacks. So it will prevent unauthorized access and limit access based on MAC address. By default port security is disabled, keep in mind. Again, all the features which we are discussing is disabled by default most of the time. That's why we are studying this and this course to enable them and use and utilize it, which is there by default. If you enable port security, it will allow by default only one MAC address. And if you enable port security, by default violation mode is shut down. We will discuss about violation mode. If you enable port security, there is no aging time configured by default. If the port is down, it will be down until you enable itself as an administrator. Port security can be configured in three different ways, which we will see: static, dynamic, and sticky. And also port security have three different types of violation mode: shutdown, protect, and restrict. Per port we can allow from 1 to 8, 9, 2 MAC addresses per port. We can limit up to 8192 per port. These MAC addresses can be allowed, and we know by default is one MAC address allowed if you enable port security, which I told you by default port security is not enabled. Now coming to violation type. Violation means like if you go on a red signal, so definitely this is a violation. Same thing is here. If you enable port security and somebody do violation, so there are three types to take action. One is shutdown, which is the default action. If you did not change it, then it is the default action. It will take the port to error disable mode. Error disable means it will disable the port, and it can be enabled in two cases. You have, as an administrator, go to interface, type shutdown and no shutdown to make them up. Either you have to enable error disable recovery, which we will see. Also, shutdown will make counter keep history. It will show you the history of the MAC addresses who done attack, and also it will generate logs. So one of the best solution. Now coming to second violation type is protect. Basically protect, it will not shut down the interface, keep in mind. The interface will be green. Shut down, this one it will make them shut down, interface will become red. Protect, this interface will be green still, but the traffic will not send and receive. If the rule has been violated, then if the correct person plug, so the port will start work. If not the correct person is plugged, the correct PC system, whatever, it will not work. That's the only thing. And they will not keep any history of make. And also it will not generate any logs. So you don't know anything goes wrong or not. In syslog server, you will see nothing. Restrict, almost similar like a protect. If somebody do a violation, the port will be green, but the traffic will not be sent and received. And no MAC address counter keep history will be there. But the only difference between protect and restrict, it will generate a logs. So that at least you know something goes wrong on the specific interface. Okay, these are the three violation types if somebody violate the interface. We already discussed this one. Now going to three different methods to configure port security. One is static method. Static method means to go to every switch interface and type the MAC address manually, which is a very difficult task. You will get all the MAC addresses of the system from the users, and then you will go and you will set the switch and you will type one by one MAC addresses. Maybe you will mistype, and it's also a hard job. Like maybe in your organization 500 system, which is very hard to type 500 MAC addresses in switch, and also to collect the MAC addresses. So for a small organization, it's okay to configure MAC addresses per interface and allow them or whatever. And this is the command which you can use to configure static MAC address per interface. You can configure more than one MAC addresses, by the way, as well. Maybe a person who is a laptop as well and desktop as well. So you need to allow two MAC addresses that on that interface so that he can use their desktop, also they can use their laptop. Another method is dynamic. As the name suggests, it will dynamically learn the MAC address. Who is plugged first? So it will learn the MAC address. But this MAC address will be temporary. If the switch reboot, so the MAC address will be washed out. And so whenever somebody else plug, so they will learn that MAC address. And the command to enable dynamic MAC address, just simply write switch port security. That's it, and dynamic will be enabled automatically, which is not a good solution because if for some reason the switch is reboot, all the MAC address will be washed out. Last but not the least method is sticky. Best option in big organization, you can use this method. Sticky is the combination of static and dynamic. It's like a hybrid of both static and dynamic. Sticky MAC address will learn the MAC address just like a dynamic first time, and then they will make them static. So it's a good solution. You will plug all the system and will tell they generate some traffic. So when they generate some traffic, so all the MAC addresses will come to switch and they will learn the MAC address dynamically and will make them static. So whenever somebody else plug to that port, it will be down, either protect or restrict, whatever you put the violation mode. Even if the switch is reboot, the MAC address will be not lost and it will be there. That's the beauty of static. But static is also like this one. But static is very difficult to configure them for a huge one. So sticky, we have three method and three violation. Now by default only one MAC address is allowed per port. But if you want to increase, so there is a command maximum MAC addresses. You can allow more than one MAC address per interface. and maximum you can configure per interface. I told you here 8192. Done. Okay. Now let's go to lab and understand all these three methods. Then we will go to our attack, make flooding attack, and how we can use port security to protect make flooding attack and also protect DHCP starvation attack. But first we need to know about port security. So I'm in here in GNS, and what I need to do, let me take one switch here. Okay, and let me take three router 1, these are my client, router 2 and router 3. Okay, and let me make them like this. We need to understand, so what I will do, let me 0/0 to 0/0, this the we need this interface basically, 0/1 to 2. Okay, and 0/2 to 3. I just need the three interfaces, and let me on. I don't care about these interfaces, so let me hide them because we know this is 0/0. I need switch related interface, this 0/0. But let me, okay. So we will assign 1.1.1 IP to this one, and MAC address will be 4, 4 and 1111. So this is the MAC address and IP address for this one. So it will be easy for us to understand them. And this will be 2, and MAC address we will make them 1 2 3 4. Okay, and this should be 3, and this should be 333 1 2 3 3. So MAC address and IP address. Okay, this is what we decide. Okay, so let me configure this one first. We will apply assign IP 111, and we will change the MAC address to 111 just to understand them properly. So that's why configuration interface E0/0 and MAC address 1234 1234 and 111, and IP address is 1.1.1.1 255.0.0. Okay, and do right. I don't want to know shutdown because it will send their MAC address to switch. By default it will send Grutatus ARP, which I told you yesterday. So let me go to R2, which is my client 2, interface E0/0, MAC address 1234 1234 and 2222, and IP address 1.1.1.2 255.0.0, and do right. Let me save the changes. Go to R3. Okay, configuration interface E0/0, IP address, MAC address 1234 1234 3333, and IP address 1.1.3 255.0.0, and do right. Okay, so these are my detail. Let me go to switch. By default port security is not there, as I told you. So if I say show port security, there is no port security enable. Show port security address, nothing is configured there. Show interface E0 slash, which interface, 0/0 port security, port show port security interface E0/0. So port security is by default disabled and is securely down, and violation mode is default one is shut down. Aging time is no aging time is configured. Maximum MAC address is allowed 1, which I told you these are the default stuff, and nothing is configured, and that's it. Okay, so nothing is configured. Now I need to configure port security on these three devices. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to go to configuration interface E0/0, first interface of switch, which is connected to R1. Here I will say switch port security. It reject my command. It say on dynamic port. We will discuss dynamic port in next lecture, which is very dangerous, and there is attack of STP. But anyhow, the port should be access port to apply port security. So I will say switch port mode access. That's the first thing. Now I can apply this command switch port security. That's it. Nothing to apply. So the first one I configure them dynamic. That's the way to configure dynamic port security. Yeah, this the dynamic one. Let me make this one static, and let me create this one as a sticky. Three method over there. Come out from this interface, go to interface E0/1, this one, and type here switch port mode access, which is required to make them access, and switch port security, and here, yeah, switch port security to enable port security. Then second command switch port security MAC address, and type MAC address. We already know MAC address of this interface, which will come on this interface 1234 1234 and 2222. Done. That's the only thing required. And the last one is sticky. Interface E0/2 switch port mode access to make them access port, switch port security to enable the feature of port security, and switch port security make address sticky, not a static one. Sticky. Done. Now we can enable uh, these interfaces. By the way, let me capture the packet to show you. Yesterday I was about to tell you what is gratuitous ARP. So whenever you enable these devices, they will send their MAC addresses to their neighbor. Their MAC addresses. This is my ARP entry, the ARP I was talking about. So let me go to R1, and it is on or not yet. Because yesterday the Wireshark was not working. So yeah, I started. Remind me later. And you will see here no shutdown. So when it's no shutdown, they will generate gratuitous ARP. Look at this one. Gratuitous ARP, they say that this is my MAC address AAA111. They are broadcasting this. So yesterday I forgot this thing gratuitous ARP, and you can go more detail. They are broadcasting their MAC addresses. Anyway, that is the yesterday story. So I just realized to show you. Stop, and now let's go there. Okay, so one thing more, we need to disable no CDP run because it's generating error. And let me no CDP enable, and also let me no shutdown enable this one. And let's go to R3 no CDP enable. Forget about CDP enable. Basically it's generating error. For that purpose I'm doing. And no shutdown. Now I enable all these three client, and no CDP run. Okay, now I'm in switch. Let me show you now. Show port security. Not port security. Show port security address, by the way. These are the three methods. One is say dynamic, second is secure configure, and third one is sticky. So dynamic is this one, which I told you I configure this one as dynamic. So it says secure dynamic. Then one is static, so it's called it secure configure. And this one is sticky, so it says secure sticky. These are the three methods. One is this MAC address, two is this MAC address, and three is this MAC address. And they lend them. So these are the three methods to configure. And I already mentioned what is the difference. If I reboot this device, which one is dynamic? They will lose their detail. How? Let me go to show running and go to interfaces detail. So my first interface, this one, look at, there is no MAC address detail. Second one is static, so statically is there. And the third one was sticky, so first they learn them dynamic and then they make them static. Okay, so if I save these changes and suppose reload the, okay, let me change first, then we will reload. In this case, this is dynamic. Before doing dynamic, let me go to static one. If I change my MAC address to something else, it will generate error. MAC address 1234 and let me give them 6666. Suddenly it will generate a logs here and they will shut down the interface. They say port security violation occur, MAC address is changed to 666 and we are going to down the interface to make them as a error disable. Show interface status. So this interface is an error disable. Okay, so basically they make it error disable. So even if I change back to my what was, no, I apply on second one, this one. If I go back and make my interface back to 2.2.2, this was my original MAC address. Yeah, do you think the interface will start work? No. If I say do ping 1.1.1, it will not work because interface is in error disable. Administrator has to go manually interface E0/1, type shutdown and no shutdown. Now it will become up. It's up now. And now this PC can generate traffic. It has to work now. Because in his record the MAC address is 222, but unfortunately by default violation mode is shut down. It will make the interface shut down. Now it's up. But if the violation occur again, it will be shut down. You have to manually. We will discuss how to make them automatic. But I did not configure violation. By default violation is shut down. Show port security. As I told you, by default violation security action is shut down on all three interfaces. A bit later we will discuss the violation. So on this interface, they say, let me make them bigger. Here, secure port. These three are the secure port 0, 0/1, 0/2. Maximum address are allowed only 1. As I told you, by default is 1. Current address is already learn 1. And security violation is happen on this one. And that's why they is shut down. This command will use to see the VLAN from which VLAN and which MAC address is and what is the method is configure. And if you want to check for specific one, interface E0/1, here you will see that the port security is enabled. Right now is on. If something goes wrong, so violation will be, interface will be shut down, means error disable. There is no aging time configure. And aging type is absolute. This one is secure addresses, aging is disabled. Maximum address can be learned on this interface only 1. Total is learned already 1. And configure MAC addresses. What does it mean by configure? Because on this interface I already configure statically. So that's why it's showing me that somebody configure MAC addresses here. But sticky is 0. They say no, I did not learn through sticky, somebody configured it. Which was the sticky one? This interface. 0/2. Let's see 0/2. Look at now. Here configure is 0. There sticky is 0. Configure is 1 and here sticky is 1. And the last thing is last source address. From where, so last source address is 2 to this MAC address, and then VLAN number. This is the VLAN number. Colon after this is the VLAN number. And security violation count means one time somebody done something wrong. And yes, we done it this, but here it's not showing anything. So this is clear now. By default violation is shut down, so it will shut down. Okay, so in static I test it, so it taking action. What about sticky one? Sticky one is also the same thing. If I change the MAC address to something else, suppose 4, again there will be violation and interface is down. We know it's down. So let me go quickly to interface status. This time this interface is down. So I need to go back to sticky one R3 and let me make my own MAC address again and let me manually enable this interface. And what need to do? Shut down and no shutdown to bring them up. Two things. It means both are working properly. The only thing is this one will learn first time dynamically, then will make them static. This one is you have to type the MAC address under every interface automatically yourself. Now going to dynamic. Let's do some changes in dynamic interface. Interface is 0/0 and router, and let me change the MAC address to something else 4. And let me check here, show interface status. Yeah, so it's down them. But let me bring them up. Do you think they will down again? No. In the case of R2 and R3, the interface will down again. Let me no shutdown. Sorry, shutdown and no shutdown. And show interface status. And it start working. R1, let me ping, it will ping. Do ping 1.1.1 itself and also 2. It has to work. Why it's not pinging 112? Maybe need to configure something. But anyway, router is not going to make them down again. Why? If you do the same thing here and on the interfaces and the MAC address is changed, let me do it again on this one 0/1. You know, it's not doing anything. Again, it's not going to down them because dynamic is only once. When they learn them, support will say no, the MAC address is this one. But when you bring the interface back, so they will learn a new MAC address. So don't ever use dynamic method. This one is risky one. Yeah, these two are okay. If you have a large organization, use sticky. If you have a small, then use static them. Because in sticky, if something wrong connected first time, so they will take those record and will keep in the table. So this was also a bit risky. Is a sticky but a bit risky. And this one is difficult to configure. Anyway, these are the 3 methods. Now coming to 3 violation mode. Show port security. These are the violation is shut down. So why not let's configure. Let me go to config on the switch. Interface is 0/0 and let me say switch port security violation. These are the 3 violations which I already told you. Let's go the first one to protect. And now interface is 0/1 and let me put violation restrict. And the last one is shutdown is okay. Let me show you again what I done. Show port security. On interface 0/0 I say protect, 0/1 I say restrict, and the last interface is shutdown. Both restrict and protect are not counting the MAC addresses counter. It will not increase the counter. This one security counter. But the only difference between protect and restrict will generate logs or not. This is the only difference between protect and restrict. But interface will be there. It will not go down. So now let's do it. Protect will not generate log and restrict will generate log. So protect will not generate log, yeah. So where protect is connected, protect is, I enable them on 0/0, this one. Let me change the MAC address to something else. They are generating any traffic or not. So let me give them 4. And let's see, no logs is coming because I using protect. Okay, and no violation has been increases here. And if I show you like another way, interface key 0/0, so it's enable, they say that the MAC address last time learned is this one, and security violation count is not increasing because we are using protect. Let's go to restrict, then it will clear to you. I enable restrict on which one? Yeah, 0/1, this one. So let's go to 0/1 is connected R2. Let me change the MAC address to something else. 6. You will see the logs. Here is. It's a P secure violation, means port security violation occur, and we are counting usually and generating logs again and again. If you check here, interface E 0/1, 3 times it increased them. And they're generating logs as well. Here. They're showing you this, the new MAC address which coming. And they will generate again and again. These counter will look at again. It's become 5 now. And show port security. Here you will see 5 times. So it's generating log, but protect was not doing this one. So restrict just only generating log. Let me make them proper. And okay, let me show you one thing. Show interface status. Do you think it's a disabled interface? No. Only thing is this PC will not work, this R2. If they're trying to ping someone, it will not work. If they fix their issue, it will start work. That's it. You don't need to do anything on the switch side. So let me fix my issue, which is my MAC address. The proper one is 222. So I start pinging. Before it was not pinging. Here, the only difference, it will do nothing. They will stop logs. They will say, okay, it's fixed now. The actual person is connected, so it will work. If the actual person is not connected, it will stop work. Same is very easy. If the 222 MAC address is correct, it will work. If beside 222 is connected, it will stop work. Even the interface will be green. If you check on the switch, so interface will be green, stable green, and you will say, why? I'm plugging my PC, it's not working. So it means somebody enable restrict. So interface will be green and stable, but when you connect the proper PC, it will start work. The one which is configured. And when you connect another PC, it will stop work. This is the simple thing between these three. And last but not the least is shutdown. Definitely it will bring the interface shutdown, the last R3 we already know. So what is the solution? It's a difficult task. If somebody change the interface and someone else is connected, look at interface is not working. If I fix my issue, still it will not work. Do ping 1.1.1, still it's not working because interface is in error disable state, and it will not work until you disable and enable. So suppose your boss is saying that what the hell is this? When I plug this morning, my PC is not working. You will say, no boss, okay, let me enable and disable, it will start work. So what is the solution? Solution is auto recovery. Let's fix that issue. So let me, okay, the interface, the MAC address is already fixed. So let me go to interface first, and E0/2, let me, E0/2, sorry, shut down, and no shutdown, bring it up. And now what is the solution? Auto recovery. Command is error disable recovery cause. There are many cause. ARP inspection, BPDU guard we will do a bit later. So the one which I need is P secure, this one. Because you know the error also saying the same error. What was the error say? This one. P secure violation. So I need this one. And P secure means port security violation. Not this one. There is one related like a port security, which is wrong one. Somehow there is. I remember last time student, yeah, he enabled this one. This is .1x related. So the one which you need is this one, P secure violation. Enable this one. Now I'm looking for automatic, so that the interface can come up automatically. So this is the way I'm fixing that shutdown issue. So error disable recovery cause port security violation. What to do? Error disable recovery interval, time interval, after interval. So the last thing I can set is 30 second. By default is 300 second, and done. So I give I give instruction to this switch that whenever a port is down due to port security, bring them up after 30 seconds automatically. If the violation occur again, bring them down. Check after 30 seconds and bring it up. Again check it, if it is there an issue, make them down. This is the theory between these two statements. Now let's do show interface status. There is no issue. Let's change it. Let's change MAC address. So interface will be down. Violation occur. This error disable. Last time I bring it up. Now let's see. Show error disable recovery. Look at it. After 18 seconds, it will, this interface will up automatically. Let's check again. 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, and now you will see a message, but it will down again. Look at now. Attempt to recover from port security error disable. It's up now, but unfortunately it will down because the MAC address is still this wrong one. Show interface status. It's not there, yeah. You will see after a while. Either if I ping from here something, let me ping 111, you will see it will down again. Yeah, down. Because he say no, the person who is connected is still the wrong person. So I don't want to take his traffic. Let me down the interface. So it's error disable again. And let me check show error disable recovery. Again, I have to wait for 30 seconds. 8 seconds. It will up automatically. So there is no headache of your boss now. You will say, okay, just wait for a 30 second. Even he will not realize because somebody wrong connected to this interface. So you have to wait for 30 seconds to the proper person. PC has to work. Now it's up again. There is nothing now. And show interface status is connected now. But if he generate again with the wrong IP, yeah, wrong MAC address. If you fix the MAC address, then it's okay. Now he can generate traffic. Ping will start work, and also there will be no down because it's the correct MAC address. So it start working. Now the ping is working and everything is there. So the shutdown will generate logs. It will count the MAC addresses, and also it will down the interface with error disable. You have two methods to bring it up, a static method, another is automatic, which we discussed. Now coming to our main part, what this port security can do for us. This is our main job. That's why we discuss this in detail. Yeah, the last thing I forgot, suppose if you want to connect more than one PC with the same interface, what you will do? Suppose with this interface 3, this 3 is configured. Which interface? Let me see. 0/2. So 0/2 only one MAC address is allowed. So you can go to interface E0/2 and you can say switch port security, and if you type MAC, there is no MAC, sorry, maximum. So we done violation, we done MAC address is this the maximum. By default only one is allowed. You will say 2. Now configure the second MAC address. So let me configure second MAC address. Whereas if I configure, no, I need to configure switch port security MAC address. Suppose second MAC address is 1234 and 33. So suppose 4444. Now two MAC addresses are allowed on the same interface. So if this person change the MAC address to 4444, it is okay. It will still work. Look it. And if it is changed to 333, it will also work. Do ping, both ping are working. But beside 33 and 44, if he done a small changes and the MAC address is come another one, it will down. It's down now. And it will stop work. Now you cannot do ping. So I allowed more than one interface, and this way you can allow up to, I mentioned here, up to this MAC address. I can't remember this one. 8192 MAC address limitation. Okay, so this was port security. Now coming to the thing which we was discussing for MAC flooding attack, how they can protect us from MAC flooding attack, this port security. So let's go to port security, our lab. So this is our yesterday lab. This is my DHCP server. Let me quickly configure it. Enable configuration. Do show IP interface brief. Yeah, interface is there. And let me check show IP DHCP binding. Okay, DHCP is also there. It's a good thing. Okay, so my DHCP is there. Okay, one client is there. Let me check one client is getting IP or not. IP DHCP DORA process will run, and it has to get the IP. Yeah, DORA is done and it will get IP. Okay, yeah, so 101. Let's check here. Show IP DHCP binding. Yes, so 103, 101, sorry. So 101 has been assigned. Okay, so everything is good. Okay, now there is a attacker which is connected to our network, root and Tor. Yesterday he done a starvation attack. You remember? It's so simple to do starvation attack and get all IP. Now let's protect them. So what you can do on switch, where is switch? This one. Configure port security on every port. But anyway, in this case, I will configure where the attacker is connected because I want to make them simple. E0/3, and here I will say switch port security and switch port mode access. This is the first command. Switch port security to enable port security, and switch port security violation shutdown, and switch port security maximum. I know it's one, but I make them one. And switch port security MAC address sticky. Learn the first MAC address, and beside one MAC address, if more MAC addresses are coming on this interface, make the interface down. And now let's do the starvation attack. Can he do the starvation attack? Here cnut-hg, and from here DHCP and launch attack and discover packet. Do you think it will work? No. Look at violation has occurred. The interface is down. show interface status. It say this interface is down, and let's check here. Did he get all the IPs? No, only one IP which he deserved to get. Starvation is not working anymore. So in this way, let me stop this one. Less uptake. It's not working because interface is down. So what I need to do, go to interface. We already know automatic method, but anyway, here I will say switch shutdown and no shutdown to bring them up because we want to do another attack. What about the make flooding attack? Show make address table. There are only two addresses. Let's do make flooding attack which we done yesterday and it was working. Now the situation has changed. Control L and make of an I interface. On which interface? EH0. Sorry, EH0. It will run like this way, but it will not work. Look, it is down. Control C and let me see. Did he fill up my make address table? No, because the interface is down after second attack, means after second make address came on the interface. Show make address table, nothing is there. So port security protect us from two things: make flooding attack and DHCP starvation attack. And this was the theme of the story, why we are using port security.